It's not enough there for me to ask a question. Not enough reached me to ask a question.
What part are you hesitant about?
I didn't understand the connection between the love and in our discussion of the Nefesh HaBahamis.
Ah, okay.
And then it all starts with that, and everything that gets developed after that, I didn't understand it.
Right. Nefesh HaBahamis is, in essence, primarily interested only in worldly involvements, only in something that it can experience. The concept, for example, good and bad, like we speak all the time. To steal is a bad thing. From Nefesh HaBahamis' perspective, why is it a bad thing? Because if you get caught, you get thrown in jail. If you don't get caught, then nothing happened. At worst, or at best, he may project the suffering that he has caused to the person from whom he stole. That's the extent of it. And he'll get over it. But the crime itself the absence of true good doesn't bother him at all. He has no idea what you're talking about. Like we said the other day, a person becomes wealthy, numerically so speaking, by theft or any other illicit activities. So the Nefesh HaBahamis, it's okay. I have everything I need. But that would be the lower element of Nefesh HaBahamis. When he is mevared Nefesh HaBahamis, then he says, yeah, I have all the money, but I'm really poor. One cannot cannot sense the principle of wealth if he obtained it in any kind of improper manner. This is the Nefesh HaBahamis. So Nefesh HaBahamis mitzad atzmi without birur would be at that level.
I thought the way we originally explained it was the nefesh is a living nefesh, and even
that's why you could be mevared it. That's why you could be mevared it. It's a living nefesh, and it has seichel, and you can begin to explain, to get it interested in things the way the seichel identifies them. But this is all in the process of birur of the Nefesh HaBahamis.
Is the seichel here dormant, or is it just a kind of seichel that only relates to experience in the world, which doesn't really sound like seichel?
You mean before the Nefesh Abraham is misbared?
Right, we're saying it's a living soul
Before
and it
the
has
Nefesh...
seichel.
No, okay. Let's put that in perspective. It's a living soul and it has seichel. It's all referring to its essence. What the possibilities are with the Nefesh Abraham.
Mm.
But in order to bring these possibilities to the surface, there is work involved. Did you ever see good kids rejoice in somebody else's suffering, in teasing, and get a kid to cry? I do. I think everybody wants. I'd seen this. That is not to say that this is what this kid is capable of capable. My Zayda Yisroel Neveler was at Malamet Tunegi, was a teacher of children. He was both. He was very lovable and very loving, and at the same time he's very tough. But all in the direction of goodness. So there was an episode where he stood there and he observed. In those days, there was a scarcity of Sforim, of books. Sforim. A scarcity of Sforim. Huh?
Not many.
There wasn't enough. So he observed where one boy was sitting and he was trying to look in together with another boy. In a Chumash, a Gemara, I don't know exactly where it was. And the other boy would not let him. So he observed this. He went and sat down next to this boy who would not let the other kid to learn from this boy. And he said to him, all right. The kid didn't have no idea what's coming. Say the Mishnah. Shnayim oichasim b'talis. Two are holding on to a talis. No, that's not what it means. It means that if a chaver wants to look at you in the Gemara, you must let him. That's a touch time talis. Now go weiter. This one says, I found this one. No, that's not what it means. It means when a chaver wants to look in together with you in the Gemara, you must let him. I don't know how much but it made its point. So the Nefesh HaBahamis has the capacity to be drawn out and you should understand, but he's able to be oblivious to it also. Initially, he's oblivious to it. By its close proximity to Nefesh Orikis, he becomes aware of, there's something else. That alone is also not sufficient. This is where avoida comes in. When a person becomes jealous, becomes protective and overly sensitive over personal things, and there's a lot of work to do to overcome this. Say, no, wait a second. What is the reality of the situation? What's real? And then on the highest level, in whose service are you? Are you serving yourself? You're raising a family. You're raising a family for self-aggrandizement? You're raising a family to glorify, so to speak, Hashem's name. And that takes a lot of work. The point is that he is capable of appreciating it. Because he has seichel, because it's a living nefesh. Living nefesh means he has initially even a spiritual environment, a spiritual cognizance, not just a physical and a coarse worldly appreciation. By going through, that's what we went through the whole Seder. It goes from Seichel to Midas and so forth. By going through the whole beat of the Nefesh Abamis, then you reach the essence of the Nefesh Abamis, or the Nefesh, of the living element, completely washing away all the worldly coarseness. And recognizing this one very simple truth, that all of your qualities, beyond qualities, your entire sense of personal value, the sense of personal presence, is due to the Godly presence. That takes, as I said, a lot of working, but this is ultimately what it comes to recognize. Because the nefesh of the keys, doesn't follow along. It's what is there? Where are you taking me? So you stole $100. So whatever it is, you robbed the bank. That's not the reality I'm living in.
Who says that? The nefesh
Nefesh of the keys. Nefesh of the keys, at the lower level, the human element. This is also really a part of Nefesh Abamis. This is it's called Nefesh HaSichlis. This is the Sichli part of the Nefesh. Even Nefesh Abamis. In other words, Sichli part of the Pshat, that the Nefesh Abamis has that element, that level, that says, what's valuable, that which the Seichel agrees that it's valuable. Not just my stomach, not just my gaiva, my midas. It is real, the Seichel agrees that this is valuable. This is Nefesh HaSichlis. This is how the Nefesh Abamis becomes his body. This is Nefesh Abamis. Where does it start from? It starts from total negativity. That's what it's love. Total darkness. Then, as a result of this birur, it elicits milmailo a response of phenomenal character. The Rebbe gives several meshonim for this. Hein kedim alav, and the last one that we are up to now is choshech and oyer. And we left it over yesterday, last night, and the Mitzvah will get in today, or whenever we get into understanding the principle of choshech and birur hachoshech. What do you mean by
Who is stating the love? Is it that love is no? The Nefesh Abraham is stating to the Nefesh Elokis, I don't want to go in that direction. What is the content of that love? It's an answer to something?
Hein kedem lalav. It's again a moshel, a situation that illustrates the principle.
Love kedem lehem.
Huh?
Lav koydem lehem, or hem koydem?
Lav kedem lehem.
The simple translation?
That the negative, the no is higher, precedes the yes. And the Rebbe explained as an example what is that, what is the situation that this pertains to. That even if a person cannot be, as an example, cannot be enticed by anything that is positive, that he normally would respond to, you can still reach him and arouse his interest by pointing to something that he despises, that is negative. That can reach the person. To this he will respond even when he is completely in a different world.
Something that's truly negative or something he doesn't like?
What's the difference? Do you have something in mind?
How does that work out with our Nefesh Habahamis, our friend, the Nefesh? What does higher mean?
The Nefesh Habahamis is the lower, not the higher. We're not talking in terms of enticing the Nefesh Habahamis. We're talking in terms of being mevared Nefesh Habahamis. Nefesh Habahamis, this is the love, this is the negative.
The Nefesh Habahamis is the negative concept. The
negative concept, it's a negative tendency.
Okay. Nefesh Habahamis is the negative. Okay.
And when you take the Nefesh Habahamis and you are pointing out its negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and showing to it, let it see, look at itself, look at its own lowliness, then its own very subtle human quality can be elicited. That's if you want to have it within the context of the Nefesh Habahamis. But again, this is not exactly the circumstance in which we are discussing.
What is that circumstance that we are discussing?
The circumstance that we're discussing is what does the principle that the Nefesh Habahamis recognizes its own lowliness, what is the ultimate message of that? What kind of statement does that make in the world? Not within Nefesh Habahamis itself, just an overall statement in the world.
You want me to answer that, or that's the question that the Rebbe Rashab proposed?
That's the point. The statement that it makes in the world is that now This entails the Mesidas Nefesh, quote unquote, on the part of Nefesh Abamis, because it cannot appreciate the better thing. Nevertheless, it recognizes its supremacy, its value, and it wants it. What is that? What's that statement? What does that mean? It means that even the lowest element, such as the Nefesh Abamis, recognizes that the real truth comes from goodness, not from badness, from godliness, to the point where you can really give up and sacrifice personal enjoyment, personal greatness, just to be in that truth.
And in context with Nefesh HaBahamis, by pointing out to it that this is what it's all about, it's a negative, where it's going is negative, it then senses something positive from this? Because its negativity is in the context of a more positive thing.
Right, you can explain to Nefesh Abamis to be mevarer and make it see that this is lowly. Again, I said the broader context over here is not within the Nefesh Abamis, it is Nefesh Abamis as it is within the godly reality, the worldly reality. But even within Nefesh Abamis itself, there is that phenomenon. You know the story of this man who was a drunk, and the children were trying to get him out of his habit. So they wanted to expose him to the lowliness and the state in which he actually comes to when he is drunk, what he looks like. He has no idea what he looks like. Right? He slips right through it. So one time they were walking in the street and they saw a drunk in the gutter. They saw a drunk lying in the gutter, right, in his own throw up or whatever it is. Real disgusting view. They went home quickly and said, "Daddy, come, I want to show you something." So they drag him over, and they show him, see what this looks like. The guy looks at him and says, "Wow." He walks over to the drunk and says, "A whisper, where did you get such good mashke?"
Someone who's hayam, someone who's lowly and coarse doesn't know is.
He doesn't know loneliness.
That's another target from what we're talking about. That's another
target. But you could be mevarer. That's the point. The point is that Nefesh Abamis is a nefesh, is a living entity, and it could be nisbarer, and you could bring out its human and its seichel element. But when you do that, the effect of that in the overall reality of the world, and in the response, the godly response, is phenomenal. Because that is a statement, right? Especially when he reaches the ultimate point, as we said, that he submits and he expresses his desire for something that he has no means to really relate to. I want atzmos, or I should want atzmos. And he recognizes that all of his experiences, all his goodness is insignificant. I should want atzmos. That elicits in Milo a statement of the presence of atzmos. And this is the pshat, and this creates the dira betachtonim. Because dira refers to dira for atzmus. It says how atzmus make yourself present in the world.
The vegam, as it introduces this love kodem lahin.
Yeah.
What is the gam connecting to?
Gam
Much
is connecting to what we explained before, the beetle nefesh habamis. Like for example, the chidush of the nefesh habamis, the beetle nefesh habamis represents a chidush. Before we had the muscle of the chidush of the tziprim daberes. The principle that the nefesh habamis, the beetle nefesh habamis, how that elicits a response milmaila of atzmus is due to the fact that this is the double chidush. Nefesh habamis become this battle double chidush. And then he says, similarly, gam. This is also illustrated by the principle of love kedem lahen.
This is a known principle, love kodem lahin.
Right.
This is a learning principle, a Gemara principle, or a human principle. What is this?
It's a principle of how do you reveal truth? Either with a human or godly, or even beyond. I gave the mashal of a person where he is venimshach nefesh, is totally into himself. Nothing touches him. We discussed yesterday, this is not arrogance, it's just because he is in a different mood. Still, something that is contrary to his values will touch him, will arouse him.
We were saying by alleviating it, not pointing it out.
Right.
We were saying by alleviating that, not by pointing it out.
Something that stands up and listen, then to alleviate that is what
That's
he's
wrong.
enticed to.
What means alleviate?
To get rid of it.
Well, what's the connection to that and something against his?
Huh?
I don't understand how we just switched to Avram's question. We were just talking about how you just said it's not consistent with what he believes, so it's like it shakes him up. That's the love.
And so what happens?
What's the alleviate part?
Yeah. What happens? What's the point? It shakes him up. Shakes him up to do what?
It brings up the negative, brings out something higher than the.
And what is it? And what does it? What does it elicit? What does it bring out? It puts all these. It elicits the effort to alleviate the negative, to get rid of it.
This is something of arousal that we spoke about before. That when atzmus is aroused to respond to the nefesh halakis.
1 second.
Okay.
What's missing here? What's missing?
First, I don't understand this principle. Love kodem lahin.
So he explained. Love kodem lahen, that a person can be reached.
Okay.
Sometimes
Yeah.
by something that is negative. Like I gave an example yesterday. Were you there yesterday?
That was on the phone. Yes.
I gave an example yesterday. I said, trying to explain to a bacher what is the principle of marriage. And then he said this and that. He's not really reaching it.
Mm.
So I said to him, listen, I want you to project the possibility that you're 25, 26, 27, you will never get married to the end of your days. Then he wakes up and says, no, wait a second. That's unfathomable. That cannot be. Why not? You can't even find a reason to get married. So why can it not be?
So he couldn't get out of the realm of bachahood. He was like he couldn't see how to move from this.
You couldn't get out of the on the positive, on what am I going to gain from it? He couldn't get out, get to it. Why should I do it? I can't explain.
Therefore, he couldn't see to take the next step.
Therefore, you project yourself. You understand the point?
Okay. 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 So this wondrous moment where it's Romos of the soul. So he sees something opposite. So this draws. He wants to alleviate himself from the negative that has come into his.
Whether to alleviate himself or alleviate the world from that.
Okay, that situation. How does that fit?
Here, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. You are sitting and learning Shayuchad Ve'emunah, highest in your. You're really having your little piece of paper and you're really. Then you see a boy sitting and the boy wants to look him in Gemara and he doesn't let him. That's what the story that I told you, my grandfather. So. Will that wake you up? I would say, yeah, it's okay.
Hopefully, it would wake me up. Yes.
Right? Even though, just a moment prior to that, this boy does not have a Gemara, and it bothers him. He doesn't have a Gemara to learn it. So, okay, he'll find the Gemara. But when you see this interaction, that really bothers you.
That conflict.
That negativity, that bad midas.
So this situation has now challenged this man to remove
him. It touched him.
Even though he was in this state of nevsh this, it touches him. Okay, your point is that it touches him.
Right.
Am I able to? He's asking why is it a chiddush?
Because it's so far away from nefesh. Because it opposes the essence of nefesh, not the quality of goodness and badness, generosity and so forth. It opposes the very essence of nefesh. The Gemara says, halacha, koifin al midas doim. Koifin al midas doim. Is something that the halacha forces. In other words, you have an object, and I want it. To you, it's not that important. To me, it's much more important. Nobody's going to say, hey, you give it to him or sell it to him. It's my thing. But if it's a situation of zen nehne v'zelo yichosir.
What's the translation?
One can benefit without you suffering any loss. You put up a candle by your table, so you would see. But I can also see as a result of this candle. wait a second, I'm going to put up a barrier so the light does not go to the other side of the table. This is the thing that the halacha will say, impossible. Take that barrier off. I want to have my privacy. No way. You understand? Even halacha, which respects everyone's right, property, says no. This is something which we can force. This is called koifen amidas doim. This is what doim was.
So in itself, love kodum lahem. This is in itself. It is not a chiddush, but within this situation, you could come about a chiddush. This nefesh aromos is an example of.
What's missing?
I just, it's like on this line, it's like the mima turned the corner and I'm on the other side of the street.
Okay, if you're on the other side of the street.
Or back
okay.
on the other of
fine.
the other corner.
Okay. So here is the solution to your other side of the street. You're on this side of the street and the mima turned the corner. Turn the corner with him. Don't try to see what's on the other side of the corner from the other side of the corner.
Okay.
Eventually you connect all the corners. But if you turn the corner, let me see what's over here.
Okay.
Without seeing what's over here, you will not be able to connect it. First turn around and see what's there. Then you can ask, how did we get there?
We're saying that the tzipor medeberes is similar to this. A lot of kodem lahen is similar to what we said about the chiddush in the tzipor medeberes. So, I guess.
Lav kinyan particularly refers to the nefesh habamis, the bitter nefesh habamis.
For me,
This is the second view, right?
Huh?
This is the second view.
right, and how does it right? And the first was that the nefesh Bahamas
It's a chiddush.
has this chiddush and it's like the bird. Fine. So I don't. And so what's the corresponding avodah here that the nefesh Bahamas did or is doing that arouses essence?
That the nefesh habamis was love. It's really contrary to kedusha.
Just by being inside darkness, or he does something to overcome that
No,
negative.
by being in darkness, by preferring darkness to light.
Just by being its own old negative self,
Yeah.
that arouses essence.
Yeah.
No birur, no
No,
calling.
that's as a result of the birur.
Uh-huh. So that would be again sort of overcoming that darkness, where he says, just like the bird, I'm not interested in my own interests, my own experiences. I'm going to go for truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I guess, is there something new? I don't know if I'm missing something new that was brought out by this new bureau. Sounds like what we had before.
Okay. The point that he's making here in Lav Kedem Lehen and the Nisan HaChoshech is that the birur of Choshech is a much more profound birur than of light. Okay, we have to stop now. Okay, what I said before to our friend the Bakuva is important. First, we have to always, like, if it turns the corner, let God turn the corner with him. Try to understand what he is saying. You have to connect, to be connected all the time. You know, kids are walking, kindergarten kids are walking in the street, and they have a cord that they all have to hold on to the cord. Otherwise, they will get lost.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to hold on to the cord. You just have to go where it's leading.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, sometimes I have no idea what's going on if I don't have the cord. So I mean, maybe I didn't graduate from kindergarten, but I appreciate the cord.
Okay, so I'm explaining to you again. We are talking to seichel, not midos.
Okay, I mean, maybe you call it like some personal satisfaction coming to the shir, but it helps me to like stay engaged and to understand what's going on. So I don't think it's just midos. I think it's knowing what's going on.
Okay. I'm explaining to you how you can get to know what's going on.
Okay.
To get the real thing. The real thing is, as I said before, it is not the nefesh habam, it's a seichel of nefesh. Seichel has a very special process. You have to allow the seichel to lead us. Give you an example. I'll always do. Seichel is like sight. And in sight, it's an amazing thing. You can relate to objects without coming in contact with them. If you want to stay put where you are, you say, no, wait, let me go, like a child goes. I see something, let me taste it. I'm used to knowing things by tasting. So don't show me, let me taste it. So you're saying, no, wait a second, I'm not going to let you taste it. Try to see it. But I can grasp it, it's not what I am. That's what you have to, that's where you're being led. Okay?
That's the reason why it's called, we say nefesh asichlis, although we're talking about nefesh habamis. So we say a whole different name for it. Is it because it's so...
This is what seichel is. But we said all the way in the beginning of this whole thing, the nefesh habamis comes to the conclusion, Sorich nirtzois be'atzmus. Sorich nirtzois be'atzmus. But I don't want it. I'm not there. What's the significance of that statement? That's a seichel statement. Are you going to take me along? No way, I can't take you over there. If you can't take me over there, I don't want to see it. No. That's not what Nefesh Habamis says. That's after the Biru. He says, no, I'm not going to get there, but I still want to see it. You get it? Get the point here now? This is in Seichel. This is why we're learning these deep things. You're never going to touch these things. This is ridiculous. But that's the truth. And that's the truth to which you want to relate to. This is expressed in Mishnah. Have a zon of la royes val tirhoish la shuolim.
Translation.
Should choose to be the tail of a lion than to be the head of a fox. That's the beauty of Shabbat. Shabbat is naturally preferred the other way, no question about it.
Yeah.